The HOA told me to tear down my bat house or they'd fine me $100 a day and possibly put a lien on my home. A week later, the police showed up on my driveway Carol from the HOA screaming about unauthorized scientific structures. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about bats anymore. It was a war. It all started with blood. Mine, my wife's, and unfortunately my boss's. We'd invited him over for a backyard barbecue, the kind of friendly suburban evening you hope earns you that next promotion. The burgers were sizzling. The beer was cold. The air was perfect, except for the swarm of mosquitoes that decided to turn our cookout into a blood drive. My boss's 6-year-old got a welt on his eyelid the size of a grape, and that was it. The evening imploded. They packed up muttering polite excuses as they fled to the safety of their van, windows rolled up tight. I stood there, holding my spatula like a sword after a lost battle covered in itchy red bumps, feeling humiliated. "This was your idea," my wife Sarah said, swatting another mosquito off her arm. And she was right. I'd bought this perfect slice of suburban heaven in Harmony Creek Estates for peace and quiet. Instead, I'd bought a mosquito buffet. That night, I sat at my computer determined to find a solution. I dove into pest control forums, YouTube videos, even government websites. Chemical sprays, electric zappers, citronella candles, I'd tried them all. Then, buried deep in a university blog, I found salvation bats. Little brown bats could eat up to 1,000 mosquitoes an hour. I didn't need poison, I needed predators. By morning, I had a plan. I'd build a bat house. Sarah looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "You want to invite flying rodents into our yard? They're mammals," I corrected her. "And they're clean, efficient nature's little exterminators." She sighed, already picturing the disaster. "Fine, but don't let Carol see it." Ah, yes, Carol Hernandez. The HOA president. A woman who seemed to have been born clutching a clipboard and a copy of the bylaws. I told myself it would be fine. I'd build it small discreet. 2 days later, after several trips to Home Depot and one very uneven cut, my bat mansion was finished. A crooked wooden box on a tall pole near the back fence. I stood back, proud of my handiwork. My war against mosquitoes had begun. 2 peaceful weeks passed, no bites, no complaints. I thought maybe, just maybe, I'd escaped Carol's radar. Then, one afternoon, a beige envelope appeared on my door handle. My stomach dropped. "Violation notice, unauthorized structure," it read. 7 days to remove it or pay $50 a day. I hadn't even made it inside before the sound of her golf cart buzzed up my driveway. There she was, Carol, in her matching beige visor and polo clipboard in hand, the queen of conformity. "Afternoon, Alex," she said sweetly. "Get the notice." "Yeah," I muttered. "It's just a small box. It's barely visible." "It's not an approved color," she said, tapping her clipboard. "Harmony, beige, serenity taupe, or tranquil white. Those are your options, and you can't just install structures without approval. It's in the guidelines." "It's a bat house," I said, trying to keep calm. "It helps with mosquitoes. That benefits everyone." Her eyes widened like I'd told her I was raising cobras. Bats. Those things carry rabies. That's a health hazard. Take it down 7 days, or the fines start. And then she drove off smug as ever, leaving me in my driveway holding a letter that basically called me a criminal for trying to fix the mosquito problem. That night, I sat on the couch fuming. I wasn't even angry about the money, it was the principle. I'd tried to do something good, and I was being punished for it. "It's not a vermin shack," I said to Sarah. "It's a conservation station, an observation post." And just like that, the idea clicked. By midnight, I was neck-deep in state wildlife ordinances and conservation laws. After hours of scrolling through government websites that hadn't been updated since 2002, I founded a small clause encouraging private citizens to register wildlife observation stations for endangered species. There it was, and the loophole I needed. The next day, I rebranded my bat house as the Harmony Creek Regional Endangered Species Observation Post Station 91. I printed a laminated sign complete with a fake logo and the noble words Citizen Science Initiative. I even made a website with stock photos and a live feed that was really just a picture of the bat house. When Carol's second-in-command, Bob, wandered over, he squinted at the new sign. "So you finally took that thing down, huh?" I grinned. "Take it down, Bob. This is an officially registered wildlife station. For bats. Endangered ones." Bob blinked. "Endangered. Federally recognized," I said confidently, though I wasn't entirely sure that was true. "I'm contributing data." He backed away slowly, muttering something about weird neighbors. 24 hours later, another beige envelope. This time, the fine doubled to $100 a day. Frivolous and deceptive structure classification, it said. They'd literally invented a new violation just for me. I called Carol directly. "Carol, you're fining a registered scientific station." "You can call it the space station if you want," she snapped. "It's still an unapproved box on a pole." I hung up, shaking. I wanted to quit. Sarah told me to just take it down before they sued us. For a moment, I almost did. I sat in the dark staring at that stupid bat house and thought maybe I really am the crazy one. Maybe this isn't worth it. But then I looked at that sign at the fake logo I'd made and felt something shift. No. They wanted me to give up because it was easier. I wasn't going to let a woman in a golf cart bully me off my own property. The next morning I called a contractor. Most laughed and hung up when I told them I needed to build a scientific observation platform. Then came Gus. His ad said, "No job too weird." Perfect. He showed up in a rusted F-150, big mustache hands like sledgehammers. I told him everything, the mosquitoes, the HOA, the science bluff. He just nodded. "So you're basically building a spite deck," he said. "Kid, I like your style." 2 days later, my backyard was filled with the sound of saws and nail guns. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Carol drove past again and again in her golf cart, face redder each time. By Wednesday, Gus had built a masterpiece, a 4x4 platform raised exactly 29 inches, 1 inch below the city's permit requirement. It had solar panels, a blinking green light, and a railing that looked absurdly official. My fake science station now looked like something the government would fund. That same evening, the police showed up. Carol was there, of course, waving her clipboard. "Officer, this man has constructed an unauthorized deck. It's dangerous, unsanctioned, and ugly." The cop looked at me, then at the platform. "Sir, do you have a permit for that?" "It's not a deck," I said calmly. "By city code, a deck is for recreation. This is a research platform under 30 inches, no permit required." The officer sighed, already tired. "Ma'am, HOA rules are civil, not criminal. If he's not breaking any laws, there's nothing I can do." Carol's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. I smiled politely. "Science prevails." "Officer." He tipped his hat and left. Carol stormed away, fuming. I'd won that round. Still, I knew she wouldn't stop. She'd find another way. So I decided to make my fake project real. I emailed the biology department of the state university. Within hours, I got a reply from Dr. Anna Sharma, a bat expert. She'd seen my website. Her email was cautious but intrigued. "Your methods are unorthodox, but I admire your initiative. I'd like to discuss your data collection." When we spoke, she asked bluntly, "Be honest, did you build this out of spite?" I hesitated, then said maybe at first, but now I want to do it right. She laughed. "Good, I'll send you proper observation protocols. Record nightly counts, log bat calls. Do that for a month and I'll back you officially." I couldn't believe it. The lie had become real. A week later, Carol summoned me to the HOA hearing. The room was packed, neighbors, board members, the whole beige brigade. Carol stood at the front like a prosecutor, laser pointer in hand. "Mr. McMichael has flagrantly violated multiple bylaws, built a structure without approval, and mocked this community with fraudulent science." When it was my turn, I stood calm as ever, binder in hand. "According to City Zoning Code 113.8, my structure is legal. According to State Ordinance 451B, citizen-led wildlife observation posts are protected." Carol rolled her eyes. "This is absurd." "Actually," I said, pulling out the final paper, Dr. Anna Sharma, head of Chiroptera Research at State University, considers this site an affiliated data collection post for an endangered species. I placed the official university letter on the table. Silence. One board member leaned in. "It's on university letterhead," he whispered. Another said, "We can't fight an endangered species project. Bad optics." Carol's face drained of color. "We'll take this under advisement," she muttered through clenched teeth. The meeting ended there. I walked out taller than I'd ever felt. Days later, something amazing happened. At dusk, I saw movement from the bat house. 1, then 2, then 6 little shapes fluttered into the twilight. Real bats. My fake observation post had become a genuine one. A final email from the HOA lawyer arrived the following week. They offered a compromise, no more fines, permanent approval of my structure, and in return I had to paint it an HOA-approved color and give a 10-minute presentation about bat conservation at the neighborhood potluck. I picked Serenity Taupe, the color of pure, unadulterated victory. That's how I ended up standing in that same beige clubhouse pointing at a projector slide that read, "Bats are friends in the fight against mosquitoes." The same people who'd once glared at me now listened politely nodding while Carol sat in the front row, arms crossed, expression unreadable. When I finished, I looked around the room and couldn't help smiling. I came to the suburbs looking for peace and quiet, and instead I built a war monument for science. Lesson learned. Sometimes the only way to beat the system is to out-bureaucrat it.